Hello, Hassan. Great job writing these essays. Let's get into your corrections right away. Okay, we've got global bird flu casualties. So the bar chart shows the number of cases of bird flu in 10 years period between 1990 to 2000. Okay, so this grammatically should be in the 10-year period. Okay, because 10-year here is acting like an adjective for the noun period. So you can't put an S at the end. Okay, in 1990, the number of bird flu cases was 120,000, and that number remained stable until 91, before it increased slightly to over 130,000 cases in the years 92 and 93. There was grew by 20% in 1994 and 23% in 1995 in the number of cases comparing to the first 2 years. Okay, this sentence is a little awkward. Even though your previous one was excellent, this one has some problems. I think here you meant then it grew. Okay, referring to the number. So then it grew by 20% and then 23% in the number of cases. And you didn't even need to say comparing to the first 2 years. It just made it sound a little more awkward. So I would have removed that. In contrast, the next year recorded an increase. Here you need the article increase, an increase, in the cases by 10,000, which is higher than the year 1995, when it was 145,000. Okay, so in the next year you mean 1996? Let me see. Okay, I've got to admit, this is a little confusing to me. In other words, if I don't have the bar chart in front of me to refer to, it's a little awkward. Okay, so in 1997, the number of cases saw growth by 25,000 cases, and that number remained constant at about 180 for the following years, and that is more than the year 1996 by about 1/5. And 1990 by more than 2/5. You have to put an S on the end. Okay, this is fine. I'm not sure if I know you're trying to make comparisons, and I'm really glad you're doing that. I mean, it is important to make comparisons, although I'm not really sure that I would have wanted that 1996 comparison. I think more important is to talk about how that end number is related to that beginning number. Although I understand why you selected 1996, I don't think I would have included it. I think this would have been a better choice here, 1990 compared to 2000. So where the numbers began and where they ended. Okay? So, and here's your overview. Overall, it can be seen that the number of bird flu cases rose steadily over the years, and the highest number of cases was in the 4-year period. Again, remember, this needs to be no S, between 1997 to 2000, while the lowest number was in the years 1990 and 91. Okay, nice job. There are some really, really, really strong elements to this task one. There are a couple of places where, as I mentioned, there are some areas of awkwardness, so do revise them and try to rewrite them in a way that is more clear. And keep in mind that you want to write your task one as if the person reading it doesn't have the chart in front of them. So that means that your description needs to be as clear as possible. Okay? So with that, let's go on to your next essay. And here it is. Some people believe that employees should stay in the same job for the rest of their lives. Others think they should switch jobs at least once during their career. To what extent do you agree or disagree? Okay, the issue of whether workers must stay in their jobs for their whole life or if they have to change their works at least once in their lives has grown in importance over the last few decades. The sentence is great. It's really, really well done. But this is the incorrect word. When we use the word works, we're talking about public works. We're talking about works of art. Okay, so what you really want is their occupation. If you want to look for a synonym for job, their career even perhaps, possibly. But I think their occupation would probably be best. Or something that's a synonym for job, but not works. This essay agrees that people should not change their jobs. There it is again. This essay will discuss the issue using examples from Saudi Arabia and Bahrain University to demonstrate and support arguments. Okay, it's fine. I only want you to replace this because look, you've got this essay, this essay. You could have just said, I strongly agree that people should not change their jobs. This essay will discuss the issue, okay? So let's not be so repetitive like this. Firstly, it is too risky to change jobs, all right, with an S. This is because there are few job opportunities. Again, this is what I said in task 1 as well. When a noun is acting as an adjective, it cannot have an S on it. And it's describing what kind of an opportunity? A job opportunity. Okay, this is because there are few job opportunities and most countries, careful with your spelling here, suffer from an economic, well, you could say economic crisis as well, that's fine. So when people leave their work, it will be difficult to find another one because of a lack of jobs. Okay, so you got to change a couple of little structural words there. For example, the Ministry of Labor in Saudi Arabia reported that there are 150 persons, reported that there are 150 persons apply for each vacant job, and when employees leave the work, it takes them at least 8 months to find another job. Okay, that's a really interesting statistic. I really like it. However, there are some issues with the grammar again, so let's look at it. The Ministry of Labor reported that let's get rid of their R, okay? So, reported that 150 people, it's typically the plural we use for persons, okay? So, reported that 150 people apply for each vacant job, and when employees leave their job, it takes them at least 8 months to find another job. Okay, and now another word that you could use here instead of job all the time is position. So when the employees leave their job, it takes them at least 8 months to find another position. Okay? So one way you can avoid this in the future is, look up in a good online thesaurus some synonyms for job. All right. Okay, so therefore it is clear that if people left their jobs, they would suffer unemployment. Okay, fine. Secondly, people getting older and they lose their chance. All right, so here we have to clean up a little bit of the grammar, Hassan. Secondly, people get older. And this is unclear. I don't know what you mean by lose their chance. Now, I'm fairly certain you're going to explain it in the next sentence, but let's see what we can do with it. Okay, in other words, most companies required a minimum age for their positions, which makes it difficult to find a new job after working for a few years. Okay, so let's see. First of all, this should be in other words. Most companies require in the present tense because it's a common truth. It's something that's always the same. And I don't think you mean a minimum age because here you're talking about older people. So I think they have a maximum age for their positions, which makes it difficult to find a new job after working for a few years. There's a difference between a few and few without the article. If you're not sure, please look it up to see the difference. For instance, a recent study by Bahrain University found that 73% of companies have required employees between the age 23 and 27 years old. Okay, here it should be between the ages of 23 and 27, and then you don't need this. Because they are more productive. Consequently, it is clear that as, without the much, as people get older, okay, so you need to make these changes. As people get older, it becomes difficult for them to find a new job. All right, and then that's perfect. All right, just some of those little grammatical things that are keeping this from being perfect. In conclusion, although people want better job opportunities, it is safer and more beneficial to stay in the same position, okay, or in the same work is okay. Now, why did I get rid of your word here, but? Because you already have a word here that shows contrast, so you don't need this here as well. You either pick one or the other. But this sounds a little more advanced. It sounds nicer, so keep it. All right, so Hassan, Good work with these. You've got a lot of really nice elements to your writing. So just make these corrections to your essays, add the errors to your error correction list. And when you write your next essays, please do so within the next 24 hours. This way you can really, really apply everything you've been learning. Okay, so great job, and I will be looking for your new essays.